Bet horse racing on DRF Bets. We'll match your first deposit of $200. Get free expert picks and past performances, plus weekly cash back. All from Daily Racing Form, the most trusted name in horse racing. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer. We're kicking off a 50-cent pick 5 at Del Mar on Sunday with graded stakes action. 2-year-olds getting set for their close-up in the Cecil B. DeMille going a mile on the turf. Let's take a look at this field. It's a big field. It's pretty evenly matched. I think distance is going to be the key for several of these horses, including the 7, Speedboat Beach, who made his career debut sprinting on dirt with a 1:04 Beyer speed figure and hasn't seen dirt since.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he stretches out effectively. You know, he's going to be showing speed in here. Another horse who looks like, one of the contenders anyway, Dan Ajiz. I mean, he's another horse who I think distance is a real question. He's talented enough to beat this field, but can he get the mile?
There should be pace, as you mentioned. Not only will Speedboat Beach likely be forwardly placed, but Timeform US has First Piece, an impressive gate-to-wire winner last time out, on the lead. Fleet Feet was on the pace in her most recent start. Even Game Time has shown some speed as well, Mike. This could set things up for a late runner.
Yeah, it really could. It'll be interesting to see how some of these horses play it because, we have several horses who, just sort of went to the lead to break their maidens. It's not necessarily going to be their running style going forward, Dan, but it worked against maidens. We'll see if they all elect to try to go forward here because Speedboat Beach is pretty fast, Dan. I feel like he's going to make the lead.
A horse that's hoping for a fast and competitive pace up front is the one Colomeo. And Colomeo was beaten by Ajiz 2 starts back, but that race was sprinting. And when you get a look at Colomeo, a big stout stunt of constitution, yet if he was going to improve with distance, he did. First time blinkers, here's Colomeo taking advantage of a fast pace and just getting up in a maiden claimer.
Yeah, he's going to sort of wear these leaders down here to prevail at the end. This is his first start stretching out in distance. This is his first start as a new gelding. And it sort of feels like he took a little bit of a step forward here, Dan, to get the job done. Obviously, he's going to have to improve again for a really good trainer, but he might have something to run at in this race.
The 2 ransomware goes out for high percentage conditioner. Phil D'Amato has done little wrong from 2 starts, stretched out successfully to win over course and distance in this maiden special weight last month. And we see ransomware down towards the inside. And this can be an intimidating spot for inexperienced horses, but ransomware does get through and does get the job done.
I like this effort just because it did take some guts for him to come through. Now he does have that gap right there, which certainly helped him out a little bit, but he came on through anyway. He's going to hold on to prevail here at the end. And this is all after sitting a really good trip, Dan. I mean, I think that shouldn't go uncommented on. He's had a perfect trip in this race before he won, but he still ran well there. He ran really well on his debut. He's got a lot of upside.
One of the speeds in the race is up next, the number 3 First Piece, another horse that successfully stretched out to a route for the first time. Let's watch First Piece's maiden win at Santa Anita in late October, and Mike Smith just let this horse go early. He went 23-3 with First Piece. That's a legitimate pace. I like the way this horse scooted on home.
I do too. This is a pretty impressive win, and he did go a solid pace early, but it doesn't look like it took that much out of him. He still finishes it up pretty well in here. Another horse who stretched out effectively when he was able to make the lead. I guess the question is, how much harder does he have to work in here? Even if they go fast, Dan, he's not going to be loose like he was last time. He'll be contesting it, and that's a totally different situation.
As Mike mentioned, one of the big question marks in this race is whether the number 4 Ajiz will be as effective going a mile as he has going shorter distances. It hasn't worked that way thus far in his career. So far, he looks like a closing sprinter, but let's watch his last race. Nice, solid 5/8 of a mile win and a first level allowance. He's had a good trip in a loose pocket. He gets to the outside, but once he's clear, he storms down the stretch.
He does. It comes with a really good finisher. I like this horse. I think he's got a lot of talent. As you've sort of already referenced, Dan, he kind of gives off the vibe that he's a closing sprinter. And of course, those are the worst horses to take when they stretch out in distance because it just doesn't really enhance their kick at all. They tried him at the mile twice. I didn't think he ran great either time, but those might have been tougher races than this one.
Up next is the number 5, Game Time. And this horse was a front-running winner at Santa Anita last time out in his 3rd lifetime start, second on the turf. Let's watch watched Game Time. Beat a pretty good horse in this race, Mike. Went to the lead. The runner-up, odds on Reincarnate, would come back to run twice on dirt, second with an 80 Beyer speed figure, and then graduated with an 84 for Baffert.
Yeah, and this horse beats Reincarnate very easily, too. Reincarnate was keeping right up on the pace with this horse, and Game Time would never let that horse into the race, and he won clear at the end. I like that performance. I thought his turf debut back over this turf course in September was another good performance. This horse has a lot of upside.
Zabul's one of the more intriguing horses in this race because it looks like he's just going to keep getting better and better with experience. He made his debut in this race, going 3/4 of a mile, big son of collected. Maybe this distance would be a bit sharp. We see him swinging to the outside. He's still green. He's going to switch to his left lead, but he takes advantage of this fast pace and he keeps on going. There's a lot to like about this horse. The second and third place finishers both came back to win.
Yeah, that's Ransomware, who's making the lead right now, is also back in here. This horse actually closes him down pretty easily, despite all the greenness that he showed there, Dan. And I also like the fact that after this horse got sort of outrun early behind a pretty good pace, he actually made an early move around the turn just to get close, and then he kept going through the stretch. Did a lot of good things first time out. This is a pretty tall order, I think, but this horse has a chance to be pretty good.
So Speedboat Beach is up next, and this horse broke the track record in his career debut, going 5.5 on the dirt at Del Mar, triple-digit Beyer speed figure. Baffert, I think, was very reticent about stretching him out at that time, so they ran him in the Speakeasy at Santa Anita, hopped a little bit at the start at odds on, got it done on the turf. So we know turf's okay for him. They ran him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint last time out. He was part of a very fast pace. Stretching out, I agree with you. I think he gets to the front.
Yeah, I think he's going to go to the lead in here. We'll see how good he is and whether ultimately turf is going to continue to be his surface. At least for now, I guess Baffert thinks it is. I don't know, Dan. Personally, I didn't love his Speakeasy. I know he got the job done there. I didn't like that field, and I didn't think he ran that great in winning. Obviously, I don't care about his last race too much. He's probably just going to take money in here, and I just don't really want to bet this horse.
Fleet Feet jumped up, blinkers off, first time turf, this race at Del Mar, where he ran third. We saw it already with him finishing third behind Ransomware. He showed good speed in that race, Mike. I really couldn't see the excuses, but it looks like he's found his surface.
Yeah, that's probably true, but I looked at it the exact same way, Dan. He had no excuse last time. He just simply wasn't good enough. This pace is going to be way faster than that one. It just feels like he's way up against it.
And down from Emerald Downs and making his first start for Jerry Hollendorfer is the 9, Lloyd's Logic. This horse has won his last 2 races by open lengths, including a stake going 2 turns. Sire the Factor does good work with his turf horses, 13% with first turf runners. The Dam has folded turf winner. There's a lot of dirt in this pedigree, but the second Dam was a nice multiple stakes winner on the turf. I do think there's enough turf here. These horses aren't really my cup of tea, especially breaking from the far outside.
I agree with all that stuff. I mean, I thought there was plenty of turf pedigree for this horse to make the switch effectively. I don't know if we'll be able to do it against a field like this, especially Dan, when he's another horse who, he's improved since they started using his speed, and that's not really going to help him here. He's probably going to have to do it a different way.
Top pick time for the Grade 3 Cecil B. DeMille. We're kicking off a 50-cent late pick 5. Mike's going with Zabul. A lot of upside potential here for this horse. I think he's just learning. He's going to get the right setup, and I think the distance is perfect for him. I think he's crying out for more ground.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff, and that's why I took him in here. Then I was taken with his debut, thought he ran really well in that race, has a chance to get better, and he's supposed to have some pace in front of him here.
Conversely, Ajiz must prove himself at the mile. I want to give him one more chance because, as you said, he has the ability to step with these kind of horses. I think it's all about whether he gets the right trip and is comfortable early. 6-5-3-2 for Mike, 4-3-6-5 for me. Good edition of the Grade 3 Cecil B. DeMille, one of 2 graded stakes races at Del Mar on Sunday. Best of luck.